everybody. This is our first podcast episode for One Too Many. I'm Jason. That's Keith. That's Cam. And yeah, One Too Many podcast. We're three friends, and we're going to talk about any and all topics. One Too Many is by and for the people who wish to tune in to anything sports-related, media-related, music-related, entertainment, lifestyle, anything. But yeah, Keith, Cam, if you guys, either of you want the floor right now?
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll get started in terms of the second one. Yeah. Been buddies with Keith and Jace for a minute. We thought we might as well try to monetize some of these ideas, right, a little bit. Maybe we can get some sweatshirts for everyone out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe down low.
Yeah.
So really big deal.
Turn on notifications.
Yeah, turn on notifications. Yep. I can see that 99% of you are not subscribed yet, so please give a subscription if you can. But yeah, in all honesty, jokes aside, I think really just get together as friends and try to hang out, shoot the shit that we usually do, and just enjoy each other's, time and opinions, and hopefully can entertain you while we're doing it. So I think that's really what we're looking for.
Yep. And like Jason said earlier, just talk about almost everything and, anything really. So today we'll probably get started today with you guys with, NFL free agency and the March Madness tournament.
Yeah. So, for NFL free agency kicked off today, new league year. Let's go. Happy New Year, everybody. But yeah, let's get into it. So for this topic, tons of signings, tons of trades, tons of releases. But, we're going to cut that down. We're going to go with around 2 to 3, maybe even 4 deals that we liked and that we don't like. I'm going to have, Cam, let's start off with you.
Me? Yeah. Whew. Okay. So I guess to give a little context, I'm a Colts fan, which sadly this was unbelievably disappointing this past year. But we're going to try to stay positive, keep the vibes high. So I guess first that's a good segue into kind of the first one. I know everyone out there's probably not going to realize this wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 that they re-signed, but Bargain Ballard strikes again, bringing back Ashton Dulin, who I think is kind of an underrated player. I don't think he's going to wow you in terms of the stat line, but I think I speak for all Colts fans when I say he seems to be in the game and making some sort of big play consistently. I know when we had Wentz, he had a big one against Tampa Bay. Last year, he made Trayvon Diggs bite on maybe the hardest double move I've ever seen. But again,
Diggs is burnt toast.
Exactly right. Diggs is a little over aggressive, and that got kind of shown in that game. But yet again, it's nothing really big. I don't think you're going to see this pop up on too many timelines or For You pages, but I think that in terms of what the Colts were looking for, maybe get a little stability at wide receiver, probably also guarantees the fact that Paris Campbell, even though I think we all like him and see what he can do, that probably opens the door for him to go be somewhere or on some other team, get his opportunity, right? I think his time with the Colts...
I think he is gone.
Yeah. I think his time with the Colts is probably over, which is fine. I feel bad for him because we never really got to see him blossom. He was always hurt. But I think...
That's your reason.
Exactly. But I do think he's a good player, and I think even more so, he's been through a lot, so him getting back on the field will be really cool to see. But that'd be my first one. The re-signing or extension of Ashton Dulin. And I'll leave the floor to some others too for questions and comments.
So Dulin plays the slot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, he plays in the slot, so you have Pierce and you're going to have Pittman on the outside.
Probably, yeah.
So would it all right, if there's going to be 3 wide receivers going into the season, what do you expect? We all know Michael Pittman has some expectations, pretty high expectations. And, he did well last year, but not as well as the year before. And especially he's coming to what? This is going to be year 3?
4.
I think 4.
Year 4.
Yeah.
Year 4. Damn, already. Okay. So he's coming to year 4, so this is a contract year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so whatever QB you guys end up drafting, because obviously the Colts are going to draft a QB.
Safe to say.
He's gonna need to help Pittman get his money. But I really want to talk about Alec Pierce. I mean, I know you said Dulin, but you get those 3 guys, and Pierce is a big boy. Went to Cincinnati. Kind of stands out. He had a decent rookie year for somebody who, people know his name, but not too much about him now.
Right. I mean, dude, that man goes up and gets the ball, man. He specializes in mossing people. That's what he does. So I think that's really
Yeah.
almost everything we saw this year. So I'm hoping what happens this year is just a little bit better at route running. Hopefully a quarterback who can throw farther than 15 yards downfield, so he doesn't have to come back and jump over everybody. But yeah, I mean, I think just him getting settled after that rookie year was a great rookie year, for being honest, for him. And is what we expected out of him. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more from him. I think just now he's settling down and just reading defenses, and just continuing to torch people.
And for both of you, how can Doolin help open up the field for both of your other receivers, as well as your tight end, Mo Alley Cox?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, Big Mo's probably gone.
Oh,
I
wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
yeah, I don't. I mean, he could come back. I think I speak for all Colts fans that he's been fantastic. And if you didn't know, he did play college basketball at VCU. Because Jesus. Anyway, every commentator has to put that into something. Besides the point, though. I
Very
think
true.
where we see the Colts get a little bit better is in the tight end room, quite frankly. I think you see a big jump with Jelani. That'd be really cool to see. I think also with that, putting them in the slots.
I can't stop laughing about when you said, "Oh, you play basketball at VCU," because you hear it every single time. So
No,
you just
we
hear it
know.
every time.
no,
We
we know. I was like, we know as Colts fans. But yeah, I think Jelani Woods has an emergence. I think what Doolin does in particular, he takes the top off. I think that helps, and then we haven't had that really since a prime TY, and I'm in no way comparing a prime TY to Ashton Doolin.
No, yeah, the speed.
But yeah, I think that's what he brings. I think Paris could have been that. He just was hurt. But I think he can open up the middle for what I think Keith was trying to give an innuendo into, which is, you get Pierce in open space, you get Pittman in open space, and let them use those big bodies and long strides to get out and ahead. You don't have to throw jump balls every time. I know Matt Ryan loved to do that with Julio, and he kept doing it with Pierce and Pittman, or just not making completions, either one, or fumbling. But again, I think that's what Doolin does. But I think really you'll see Jelani come to fruition, which I think we're all excited about because we saw snippets of it last year. And I think he'll continue to grow. I think another one is the Ogletree guy who got hurt in training camp. They actually had him on the depth chart ahead of Jelani Woods. So that'll be interesting as well to see.
Cool. Keith, you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, just going back to that, having to do a jump off Alec Pierce every time. I mean, he did that in college too with Desmond Ritter. So that's
Yeah,
why
that is
he's so
true.
good at it already. I can't remember who I was watching last year before the draft, but they're like, the more I watch Alec Pierce tape, the lower I am on Desmond Ritter, and that man absolutely nailed it. I think, in my opinion.
100% agree.
But yeah, going back to that tight end, yeah, I personally, I don't think Mo will be coming back either. I just don't think he's fast enough to seal that outside edge for what we want to do with JT, or at least what we wanted to do with JT this year.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, he got hurt.
And yeah, I mean, yeah.
Is he injury
Right.
prone now?
We'll see.
he
I
got
mean,
hurt before,
if there's a
so
year to
now.
be injured, it was last year.
Definitely was.
But I think Granson also was showed some flashes this past year as well as a route runner. He's a little bit undersized at tight end, maybe. I don't know his exact measurements, but yeah, great route running. Kind of made up for the slowness that was Mo Alley. That man was just obviously a big body to be used in the red zone, and Granson's a little bit quicker, a little bit crisper on the route running.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. I'm learning some stuff about the Colts right now. This is great.
So
No, it is. I mean, living with you, Cam, at least, and being around you, Keith, basically every single day for the past it's been a while, but for 4 years, basically.
Yeah.
Watched a lot of Colts games. Didn't really know. I mean, I knew the players, I knew what was going on, but yeah,
Right.
a lot of hidden gems there. I'm going to go next, if you guys don't mind, and one of the deals that I liked a lot. And it's just not. I mean, I can't even say it's a deal. I think it's just a whole off season right now. You know, Kev would love to be on this podcast. I'm about to get into the Chicago Bears.
Fantastic.
Chicago Bears have been killing it this fucking off season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they traded down from the first pick to the 9th pick with the Carolina Panthers. In return, they also got a first-round pick for next year. They got another second-round pick this year. They got a second-round pick for next year. And they also got an established veteran wide receiver in DJ Moore. I don't know what the hell Carolina was thinking. What were they thinking? I get it. You're going to get your guy.
That was...
But at the same time, you see a lot of stuff saying, okay, I mean, you know what? You can't move with the second, the Texans. The most you can move up to with is the third. You're not going to trade fourth with the Colts. So I get it. But, like, you're seeing around the media, you're seeing on Twitter, seeing on whatever social media platform you're on. You're looking at Stroud or Richardson. There's no talk of Bryce Young for them.
Yeah.
I think Richardson would be a huge athletic potential. So much. But when you want to go for more NFL ready and more established presence, and I mean, Stroud would be fine.
Yeah.
But just think about Bryce Young, although he's shorter.
Yeah, I feel like the Panthers jumping up to that was 100% Frank Reich giving the middle finger to the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
The way it ended was pretty poor, and he got his name kind of dragged through the mud. That was a power move by Frank, and maybe him saying, "Let's go get in control of our destiny," kind of deal.
Yeah, I certainly respect the move. I mean, you're sitting out there, what, 5th or 6th, whatever they were. I mean, they're 9th. Yeah, no.
Yeah, they weren't going to get
No, they weren't. So I think they almost had to make that move if there's somebody they wanted this draft. So
I think you're definitely right.
I mean, it sucks they had to give up DJ Moore. I think that's killer, but I mean, I know they got a lot of picks. I know they got some picks from the 49ers for Christian McCaffrey as well, and I know, like, you know, I think they'll just keep rebuilding this year, just like the Colts. Really, they're missing some pieces, and they'll try to piece them together as best as they can. I don't expect them to do much again in the AFC South, but
I don't think anybody does.
I think it makes the draft real interesting now. Like, you know, at least for me being a Colts fan, so.
No, it definitely does. I'm going to get back to the topic, though. The Bears. I know we just talked about the Panthers and them trading down. Let's get back to the Bears. The Bears came with the most cap space. They came with almost $100 million cap space. I can't think of the exact number off the top of my head. But you're going to go in, and you're going to start off with signing former Eagles linebacker. I'm an Eagles fan in Philadelphia. Yeah, bad, sad end to the season, but happy we made it that far. They started the offseason off not only with that trade, but free agency. TJ Edwards, they signed him 3 years, $19.5 million, $12 million guaranteed. I think that's a fantastic deal they got. And then they also decided to pair him with Buffalo Bills star linebacker Tremaine Edmonds. 4 years, $70 million, $50 guaranteed. You know, at least coming from a team like, we really haven't had too great of linebackers as an Eagles fan. Who we had growing up, I had Jeremiah Trotter, and well, we had decent linebackers with exactly who the Bears just signed, TJ Edwards, Kazir White. Other than that, we haven't really had anybody else. Maybe D'Amico Ryans. I mean, he was good, but he wasn't insane. But, you know, just getting Edmonds and getting Edwards, I think just setting your defense up right in the middle. That's a beautiful way. They're both young. They're 24 and 26. That's the amazing part. So dynamic, really good at guard and tight end position as well as playing across the middle. Really good at making solo tackles as well as I have nothing else better to say than they started out their offseason great. They went in, they tried to solidify that offensive line. They got guard Nate Davis from Tennessee. They signed him to 3 years, $30 million. Obviously, the biggest weakness is for the Bears is that offensive line. They need to keep Justin Fields safe, and they failed to do that not only this past season, but the season before. And, you know, now they got a plethora of draft picks. Still a crap ton of money. Rest of free agency to go. Who knows what can happen? A lot of moves can happen between the draft, after the draft, even during the summer when people are making their cuts.
I saw them sign Nate Davis. They're one of the guards for, I think it was like $30 million over 3 years or something like that.
Yeah,
Tennessee.
He's
a good player.
I think that's a good sign. I think Ryan Poles is that dude right now. I mean, he's going out there and at least doing something for the Bears, and I think that was some of their biggest frustrations these past years.
He's cooking, not like Russ.
At least Bears fans hope so.
Yeah.
Better hope so.
No, Bears are on the right track.
Yeah.
I think they're doing it the right way. Eberflus, I think, will be a good coach. And then back to your point, Jason, with those two linebackers they signed, just a little note, they both come from winning teams, which is awesome, right? Bring a little experience of
Bring that culture.
exactly, bring it into the locker room of, hey, we're gonna do this the right way, and we've been a part of winning, and this is what it takes to win. Which unfortunately, as Kev probably can attest to, winning hasn't really been on their side much over the past few years.
No.
So getting back to that good standard's really good for them, and I think you're right, Jason. They've probably had, if not the best so far, one of the best off seasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's expected when you have that much cap space, but at the same time, not every GM can go out there and execute, and not only sign these free agents to good deals. A lot of teams will overpay. I think they give Edmonds a little bit too much, considering, like I said, I come from a team that doesn't really linebacker's not a priority at all. But at the same time, you got yourself Pro Bowl, All Pro linebacker, and one of the best tackling linebackers in the league. So, yeah.
I think that Edmonds signing though is, they dumped off Roquan Smith this year, and I think that this man is over 4 years is what Roquan Smith is almost making every year.
Exactly, Keith. They traded Roquan Smith to Baltimore. Baltimore gave Roquan $100 million. They signed Edmonds and Edwards for less than $100 million. Both of them less than $100 million. Just a great move by Poles. And of course, everybody at the time, including Kevin Boy, he was disappointed they traded Roquan. But at the same time, I bet he's been really happy right now. So, yeah. That's all I have to say about that. Keith, is there any deals you like? Any deals you don't like so far this
some
year?
deals I liked, actually, yeah.
Anything going on?
The Dolphins. Trading for Jalen Ramsey and signing Mike White. I think that's a huge step for the Dolphins. Paired with Xavier Howard, I think that those corners will be locking down next year, which will really help their defense. And I think Mike White is a very solid backup. We saw what he can do. Tua goes down again. I don't think Mike White will miss too much of a stepping in there. Not when you have both Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill as your wide receiver, and Mike Gesicki, who's a very solid tight end. Not to mention they re-signed both Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, who are very solid running backs. So
they also re-signed Myles Gaskin. I'm pretty sure I saw.
So
yeah, I want to confirm that.
I couldn't confirm that, but I think the Dolphins are in the right move. I think they're trying to fight the Bills for top of the AFC East. And who knows now this year? I think the AFC East is going to be very competitive, especially if a certain someone goes to New York.
Yeah, we'll talk about that certain someone later. But no, it's funny how you say you like that trade. And I like it, but at the same time, I don't like it. The Rams last year were a very interesting team, just with the fact they shut a lot of guys down. They shut Aaron Donald down. So you don't really know what it's like, not really what it's like, but how Ramsey would have continued to play last season if you had Donald in there, continue to get pressures, that they actually tried, so to speak. I think that's the best word. You just tried. Because, they shut down a lot of players. And essentially, you can say they went tank mode, but at the same time, they don't have their first-round pick. So, can you really say tank mode? I'm pretty sure Detroit owns
probably.
That pick,
all I know is they sold their soul for a Super Bowl, and it worked out. So, I can't blame them starting to offload, very expensive guys. They're probably looking to rebuild now. And I don't know. I think no matter how Jalen Ramsey was playing, the man is 28 years old, still in the prime of his career.
Yeah. Paired
with Xavier Howard, I think that that secondary is going to be gross. I think it's going to be it's going to suck to play against them. And they gave like a third rounder and a tight end. I think that's a steal for the Dolphins, in my opinion.
Backup tight end.
You very rarely get, I would say, great cornerbacks, especially in their prime. We saw what Darrelle Revis did with the Jets. We saw what Richard Sherman did on the Seahawks. You saw what Darius Slay did last year. I mean, it's not invaluable, but I mean,
I think what really
it's very
kills
helpful
me.
to have.
I think what really kills me to think about is the guaranteed money they gave. They gave him a lot of guaranteed money, and I get it. I think he will, like you said, paired with Xavier Howard. I think he's gonna perform great, just because Xavier Howard's gonna cover the number one guy. Imagine Jalen Ramsey going out there. Your number two guy's going against him.
And he can cover the one guy if he wants to.
I'm already
I think.
thinking about it.
So I
He
mean,
could
that's
cover the one
like
guy if he wants
that's
to.
why I think it's
Honestly,
just
yeah.
rough, no matter what you
Doesn't
look at
matter
it from
where.
an offensive standpoint.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally agree. I think the Dolphins headed the right direction.
And I think they're pushing for a Super Bowl. I know that they haven't exactly.
Tua just to stay,
Yeah,
Tua just has
yeah.
to stay healthy. That
That's like
defense
the.
is-
I mean, I wouldn't say they're missing a
That's
quarterback,
defense.
but I mean, hopefully Tua's their franchise guy if he can stay healthy, right?
yeah,
But I think that's the
Graham,
biggest
and
question
they
mark
gave him
right
his
there
fifth
is
year.
quarterback. Now,
100% agree. I think people also underestimate their defensive line. Christian Wilkins,
Bradley
I was
Chubb
like
on
Bradley
there.
Chubb, Jalen Phillips, who's really been coming along.
Yeah, has been.
I think I agree with you, Keith. I think you get a Jalen Ramsey to cover not only at 2, but like, you know how disgusting it would be to think you're an NFL coach being sneaky and put someone creative in the slot, and then boom, Jalen Ramsey lines up right over Cross. That's
Yeah.
tough. If anything else, I mean, you're gonna have to get Rio creative in the run game or something to keep them off balance. So I think they're headed in the right direction. And for what the Dolphins needed, it was a good fit. And I think for kind of like what you said too, the Rams, kind of going all in and pushing all their chips in. I think it's paid dividends because you got the ring, right? And that's how we determine who's great and who's not and who's the best. So I think it was a win-win for both teams, and they both got kind of the benefit of what they did.
yeah,
I agree to an extent, but at the same time, I don't agree. Like, I get it. The whole goal is to win a ring, which I did. Cool, fantastic. At the same time, don't you want to become a dynasty? Don't you want longevity? Longevity is also key too. And you know what? Whatever. They sold their soul. They got their ring. I shouldn't even brought that up.
Right.
They got their ring. That's what matters.
I see what you're saying. I just don't think they were in a position to set up for a dynasty if they wanted to win a Super Bowl at the same time. And I think they chose Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So.
It's understandable.
I agree. Also,
And dynasties.
Dynasties are
Yeah.
rare.
How hard is it to build them? Extremely.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. I mean, the minute you get good, coaches get poached. Players want more money, right? Greed starts to sleep in a little bit.
Exactly.
It's really tough. Not saying that, I disagree with you, Jason, because in a perfect world, right, you're always getting better and you're always competitive and you're never gonna have to pay the bill when it comes due, right? But
Yeah.
I think overall, I think there's a lot of teams out there that haven't won Super Bowls that would be totally okay with pushing everything in the middle and getting a ring and saying 5 years down the road, who cares if we're 4-12? I got a ring and got to celebrate as a big fan.
I
So
get that.
Yeah.
No, I do. Whoever's gonna watch this, any Los Angeles Rams fans out there, all I have to say is, you know what? Do Los Angeles Rams fans even exist? Like, how can they enjoy that Super Bowl if none of them exist?
no,
That's all I
Yeah.
gotta say. I'm done.
Hey.
Cam, let's go on to the next. Is there another deal that you like?
yeah.
Or don't like? Who
I was
knows?
gonna say I actually have one that I don't like.
Go for it. Let's run it.
One that I didn't really understand that might be a good segue into the last topic of kind of NFL free agency, but Alan Lazard going to the Jets, right? 4 years.
Yeah.
What was it? 44 mil, 4 years. He's
Yeah, I think
he's
so.
28 and his stats have been, I wouldn't say guaranteeing $11 million. Maybe not. And maybe that's just a part of the Jets trying to sell, give a little bit of sales to
Mhm.
you know who.
Rodgers. Discount double.
Exactly. State Farm's finest. But I don't really understand that one. Personally for me, and maybe I don't watch enough of the Jets, but I see there's some young wide receivers that you've spent some draft capital on. Wilson, right? You had Elijah Moore, who I believe was a second-round pick. Now, people were saying that he was going to get traded. Now he's not. I would have run it back and tried to see what we have.
It's Corey Davis's replacement.
Exactly. And Corey Davis is who he is, but Allen in particular, I think 11 mil, 4 years. I personally don't like it. And I would say the Jets haven't traded away the farm, right? You have an opportunity to probably get a good wide receiver that you could maybe mold into a wide receiver 2 or 3 this year. So that was my opinion, and I don't want to bash on him because I clearly understand why they did it. I'm not silly, but it's one of those where I think you could have been fine without doing it. And it seems to me a little desperate.
You're getting your future guy, his guy. No, I fully agree with you on that. I'm not the big fan of the Allen Lazard trade either. I feel like they're trying. You have this super young defense intact. You have a young offensive line. You have you're about to get a second-year running back and a third-year running back in Michael Carter. So Breece Hall, Michael Carter, they're going to be your backfield. Yeah. Like you said, we're going to get a second-year Garrett Wilson. We're going to get a third-year Elijah Moore if he's not traded. Yep. They're a very young team, and this kind of has to do with my later topic too. But you're rushing a rebuild. That's not Douglas is rushing his rebuild. He was actually their GM was the what's it called? I'm pretty sure he was the assistant GM or somebody. He was right next to Howie Roseman with the Eagles like 4 years ago, something like that. So I mean, a lot of what he's doing. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He helped us draft very well. So, like that 2018 draft when the Eagles had, who was it? It was Avonte Maddox. It was Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert. We had a really, really good draft that year. Josh Sweat. Very, very good draft. Everybody got a second contract in that draft. He was part of that. So, I don't know if I trust this situation, though.
Yeah.
Even though he's been good in the past.
It's tough. People want to win, right? And it's really hard to wait that extra year. Because I think he's done a great job last year. He built the pieces around them that they needed. And I think this year you even saw it where it was like, man, if we just had a little bit more explosiveness at quarterback or Breece Hall doesn't go down, right? Maybe a few things here and there on the O-line. Mekhi Becton doesn't get hurt, right? You see that the pieces are clearly there. And I think Saleh will be a great head coach and continue to be so, at least on the defensive end of the ball. But yeah, I agree with you. It feels unlike what they're trying to do. It feels desperate, which I never got that from the Jets leadership. Until now, right now, it seems just to be like they're trying to rush things when in reality it's you're in the perfect spot, man. Continue to do what you're doing. So
yeah, I'm so lukewarm on everything the Jets are doing just because my personal opinion, Allen Lazard and, hopefully a guy who just spent a week in darkness at quarterback. I think it's all Band-Aid for trying to set up for their future. And I think they're just seeing how deep they can go now. I don't know any of the Jets' contract situation with their players, so I couldn't tell you what that looks like. But I think obviously they're just going to sign these older veterans to 1-2 year deals for a lot of money, and then move on when those contracts are up and try to draft and replace them in the meantime. So I think they'll try to do that with quarterback and wide receiver, whatever positions they need. I think truly quarterback, obviously. Aaron Rodgers even said he's considering retiring for the past 2 or 3 off seasons now, right? It's a media circus with him every time his contract's up. So who knows how many years he has left, right? I think it's all Band-Aid, so I don't hate it. I don't love it either. Like you guys said, it feels kind of desperate when they don't need to be, but it's all about winning, right? Mm-hmm. So when ultimately could hurt you in your draft position, but could you potentially, I don't know, could you give up a earlier first round pick for a potential deep playoff run, maybe even a Super Bowl appearance? I don't know. That's
good point.
I get it. Good point. And you know what? I'm just gonna go in and say something I don't like, and it hasn't happened yet, but we're on the topic anyway. I just said it before. I don't like what the Jets are doing. They're trying to rush this rebuild. They're trying to trade for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers only has 1 year left on his contract. I'm pretty sure no, he has 1 or 2 years left. It doesn't matter. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Trying to rush a rebuild, and Packers, they said they want multiple first-round picks. Why would you do that for a 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers? I get it. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's Aaron bleeping Rodgers. But, you know, you have Lamar Jackson right there on the table. If you're going to give up two first-round picks, and you're the Jets, you have a bunch of guys on rookie deals. I get it. You just gave, I mean, your young guys who just balled out. I know they just gave a couple people new contracts. And I get it. A lot of teams aren't going after Lamar because they think they know the Ravens are just going to match it, and they don't want to do their dirty work. But why not just go after Lamar at that point? Just give him the money. I know he wants guaranteed money. But you get what, this 25-year-old quarterback. I think he's around 25. Yep. You get the 25-year-old quarterback, dynamic, and you can see what he can do with weapons. You have a Garrett Wilson, you have a Breece Hall, you have a decent offensive line. Who's the tight end on the Jets? Is it Conklin?
I believe so. Yeah.
You have Conklin, you have Elijah Moore. And
Wilson, yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it. It just doesn't make any sense because he's also due a lot of money. Rodgers. They're both due a lot of money. Why not take more years on Lamar?
Yeah. I mean, me and Keith have had this discussion over dinner. As Colts fans, we would love to maybe explore that option of 2 first-round picks for Lamar. I guess my biggest thing is, and maybe you guys can answer it, is what is the catch? Why are the Ravens? What do the Ravens know that nobody else seems to know? Right? Like why is it only 2 first rounds? Right? If you could explain, is it injury proneness? Is it
Rodgers?
I don't know. So
yeah, I'm just going to cut you off right here. Rodgers has $60 million guaranteed if he plays in 2023 as part of his 3-year, $250 million extension from last year. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
It's a lot of discount double checks.
That is a lot of discount double checks. It's absolutely insane. It really, really is. And I want to see exactly, like, how old is Lamar? I want to know his exact age.
He's 26.
What is he? 26. Okay, I say he was 25. Yeah, he's 26. But no, exactly what you said before. It's his injury prone, I think it is, and it's guaranteed money. You know, you guarantee money to a pocket passer, they're not going to get injured as much. You give an inch, but you give Lamar Jackson, I guess he's super dynamic. He can do a lot. He can run. He can throw the ball. We've seen him. He had an MVP season already, you know? But I just don't think they want to give him all that guarantee. He was a Deshaun Watson contract. I don't think they want to give that to somebody who's going to run and get hurt. He hasn't finished the season. He's missed his last 5 games back-to-back years. I think that definitely has something to play with it. But remember, this year he didn't even get hurt running the ball. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a lot. I don't know what's up with DG. I don't know what's going on. I'm not a front office person in the NFL. Just here, giving my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't I don't exactly know what's going on. I mean, I think it'd be really gross to have like as Cam alluded to when talking about this over dinner, is Lamar Jackson and Jonathan Taylor Wildcat offense, I think would be disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But again, what do the Ravens know that we don't? Maybe they don't know anything. Maybe they're just at such odds with Lamar, they just need to get rid of him. Who knows? Yeah.
They don't want to give him the guaranteed money, and that's why they gave him this. I forget the name of the franchise tag. It's not the normal franchise tag, but it allows them to gauge the market, so people can offer him contracts, and they can get an idea. But like I said before, these teams, they don't want to do. The reason they're not doing it is because they don't want to do the Ravens' dirty work, because they know they're just going to match whatever. So yeah. It takes a long time to draft up a contract. You know? Negotiate.
I'm gonna move it on really fast and speak of contracts I don't like. Daniel Jones for the Giants.
Go for it.
I think
right over my head, honestly.
I don't know. I think if it goes well, it could be beautiful for the Giants. I think it's also could end in dumpster fire, and there's not really an in between. Or the in between is, limbo in the NFL, which is just constantly outside the playoffs, but not good enough to get a high round draft pick. Or, first round draft pick. Yeah. $160 million over 4 years. Daniel Jones had a great year. I think it was mostly Dabble limiting his turnovers. We saw the same thing with Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Good for Daniel Jones, man. He got the bag, but he's their franchise quarterback, I think, is what they're trying to make him into officially. And we'll see. I'm not sold on him. I think he had a great year. I'm just not sold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me neither. I think we see that's what we like to call dabble money. I do say that, but going into any road environment and winning a playoff game like he did is impressive nonetheless. But I think that sample size is quite small. Again, maybe if you give him a good head coach like Dabble in multiple years, maybe you do get some sort of magic in a bottle that you can unleash. But for the most part, I think the other thing is, right, we look at a lot of these contracts and maybe we don't understand it in the time, but it seems like there's a lot of contracts now that are moving up in value. So, Jason, this might be a good segue for you too, right? Looking at Hurts, right? He just played in a Super Bowl. He's going to probably retain Sirianni for a while as a head coach. I know Steichen leaves and he's now with us at the Colts, but it starts begging the question, right? What's his market value, right? If Daniel Jones is getting paid 40-something, what is Hurts, right? Mahomes is getting 50. You're starting to get these guys move up, right? So maybe
the difference is.
No, yeah,
you don't mind me cutting you off. I think Hurts is going to get around 45, 50.
Okay.
If he gets 45, I'll be perfectly happy with it. But the difference is, let's say he will get as much around. He'll get as much as like the top. He'll get around like the top quarterbacks. But the difference is, he's going to get a lot more money because they're going to tack on a lot more years. I feel like it's going to be a Mahomes contract where they're going to give him 10 years. They're not going to give him $500 million, but they're going to give him probably around whatever much guarantee to get him at least $45 million a year. But yeah, like you're saying, and you're saying that before, how contracts are going up in value. Even for like these players who aren't as good, I've been looking around, and I forget which analyst, they made a great point. They said there's no middle QB market contract. It's either they get paid the big bucks or they're getting paid next to nothing. Not next to nothing, obviously, but you know what I mean.
In relation,
yeah, that's fair. That also could have just been what the Daniel Jones situation is. Hey, you have to pay me. You don't have any other option.
Exactly.
Which is fair. I think that also played into the equation. Because there really is no one out there that the Giants really could have gotten. I guess you could have tried to pick up Derek Carr. Yeah, exactly.
You're going lateral right there.
Talk to Colts fans about how that worked for 4 years.
Contracts are going up. Kyler Murray got the bag also. What's he really done? That's true.
Kyler Murray's also a 2-time Pro Bowler. He tore his ACL this year. He was at DeAndre Hopkins for 6 games. His coach was... I don't know how to describe his coach. There's a lot of conflict going on there. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt this year. Give him, year to bounce back. His first, 19, 20, 21. This was his 4th year. His first 3 years, it's a baller. Yeah. Rookie of the year, 2-time Pro Bowler.
I think he's an electric player. I'm just saying he got the bag with not really having... he won those personal awards, but the team hasn't really gone anywhere, right? So... But,
Yeah,
I definitely can't chalk up those losses to him, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what I think most of these teams, you guys know all about it because, this is what Ballard solidifies as well. A lot of these teams don't understand that. Maybe the GMs do, but at the same time, I don't think they actually do. It starts in the trenches, for God's sakes. It starts in the trenches. Your team will only go as far as your offensive and defensive line. Your offense protects your QB, your running back, opens up holes to your running back, gives him time to throw. It doesn't matter who your QB is back there. Give him time to throw, and you can have... My goodness, we watched Case Keenum in 2017 have an amazing season because the Vikings offense was that good. But you have your defense like you have your defensive line. If your front seven is really good, as long as you can get pressure quick, the less time it doesn't matter how good it doesn't matter how good your cornerbacks are, but they don't need to be locked down. They just need enough time to
break
with
up
them.
rhythm. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what a lot of these teams they just don't understand. That's personally me though. It's easy to say, oh, build through the trenches, but like these people still don't. I don't. Whatever. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my opinion though, Daniel Jones, they gave $40 million to mid, $40 million a year to mid.
It is what it is, right?
It's true. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt though. First year in a brand new system, he balled out.
It's more the consistency. But I mean, man, he has Dabble as his coach. I think he'll be okay. We saw him limit his turnovers, and
I think so too.
Definitely.
Right, you can't score if you don't have the ball, right? And they limited those turnovers, and look what that got them. Got them a win in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw this, and Jason, you're an Eagles fan, you can attest to it. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from that Giants team, but I mean, there's some glaring holes on that team too.
Glaring. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like I said, you go on the road and win. I mean, then you played a juggernaut in the Eagles, which was, we all saw that. But yeah, I think it could pan out well. I think it's a step in the right direction. I know all of us right now look at it and we're like head scratching, especially just given the history of Daniel Jones. But again, I think with Dabble, like Keith said, I think if you give him consistency, maybe you do see why those, talent evaluators saw and drafted him as high as they did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, remember, it was the old Giants front office who was really bad. So I don't know if they're much talent evaluators to be exact.
Well, all I know is this. They have as many playoff wins in the past 5 years as the Colts. So, and Ballard, I feel like, is pretty good at talent evaluating. So,
yeah, you guys just couldn't get a QB. It kind of sucks because I'm sorry, I'm shifting to the Colts now. You mentioned Ballard. It kind of sucks because Colts, they had this juggernaut of an offensive line. You have this insanely solid consistent top 10 defense. The one piece you were missing the whole time, you weren't able to get. I do think he did take the wrong path in order to try to acquire. I get it. You can say you were in a rush, but you had a decent sized window where you could have drafted for a QB. You could have done whatever. And I get it. Wentz was more of like a personal thing for Frank Reich, but I feel like they could have gotten so much better. Somebody so much better on a budget, or somebody, I don't know. They went for old. They went for. It just didn't work out. Whatever they were trying to do, they could have just gone a simpler path.
Yeah. I mean, Keith, you can answer it, but I think it also broke the locker room, right? If your most important position is consistently changing, people get impatient, and especially given the Colts' track record with quarterbacks, it's very Green Bay-like when you start with one Hall of Famer and then Andrew Luck comes in, or Aaron Rodgers, right? I think, and I'm not saying Andrew Luck's Hall of Famer because we got spoiled though, right? Andrew Luck took below average talent rosters to AFC championships in Foxborough. So now, we hit this little dry spell, and we kind of act like a little spoiled child and throw our hands in the air. When in reality, I think this is a Colts team we've never been used to. Keith, correct me if I'm wrong. I've never seen the Colts stop the run until the past 2 or 3 years.
Pretty much. I haven't had a Hall of Fame quarterback or a potential Hall of Fame quarterback since 1999 or something. So it's like the Colts have been blessed, just like Cam said with the Packers. I think people aren't used to that here, and when things don't come right away, it's very frustrating. I mean, I think Irsay was at his wit's end this year. But it's like we've had 6 quarterbacks in 5 years, or
Matt Ryan.
that 5 quarterback.
You guys said Andrew Luck to Brissett to Phil Rivers to Wentz.
Yeah, I mean that's not sustainable. That's just not every quarterback. It's not just a puzzle piece fitting in position, right? Different schemes, different, yeah. So
You're right.
hopefully we hit in the draft. I'll be more surprised if we do hit in the draft, honestly, long term. I like the guys out there, but it's very hit or miss with QBs coming out of college. So
yeah.
No, it definitely is. I think you guys can get a good one, though. You'll have your choice of one of the four, whoever's still left on the board. I mean, two of them will obviously be off, but you'll have your choice of either Levis or one of the three. I think Stroud, probably Richardson. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Everyone looks at what they want differently. So, who knows?
I said we have we have around 14 minutes left. Let's talk about March Madness.
Ooh. Yeah.
March Madness, baby. College basketball. I mean, we follow our Hoosiers, but at the same time, I follow it a decent amount. Not too much where I can say I'm an expert or I know a lot that's going on. I mean, I know a decent amount that's going on, but I'm not full-on expert. But I'm going to send, Keith or Cam, if you guys want to kick this off, whoever.
Yeah, I can start. It's fine. And just like Jason, I'm no expert. I really only watch IU play, and then I'll keep track of the Big Ten. The rest of college basketball, I'm very not that knowledgeable on. But I love the March Madness tournament. It is a fantastic time. So I've been doing some research, and I have your Indiana Hoosiers coming in. No, I'm kidding. No. I'll just get to my final four just because I'll just talk about who I think is coming out of each region and why. Coming out of the South, I have Alabama. Shoot or shoot, right?
Okay. Oh, wow.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
I just think they're
they do.
the strongest coming out of that region. I think San Diego State will give them a run for their money in the Sweet 16. But other than that, maybe Arizona. I think Alabama's just too strong of a team to not make it to the Final Four this year. And I even have them going to my championship game. And I have them beating Marquette from the East. The East, I hate this because I think it's the toughest.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who do you have in the East bracket for Final Four?
Yeah. I hated picking this because honestly I couldn't decide.
Okay, cool.
Purdue.
Yeah.
Purdue is a solid number one seed. They rely on Zach Edey, and I think as soon as they meet a team that shoots a three or just has more experienced / better guards than them, they're done for. Especially when it comes to the tournament.
Well, I'm just going to chime in there. I talked to one of my buddies from Purdue, and I fully agree with this, and you guys can attest to this too. Edey, he's really good. He's going to be a good college player. He's not a good professional player. He's not going to be a good professional player. He's not really skilled. He's a 7'4" monster in the NCAA. And we saw, they played Penn State in the Big Ten championship game, and Penn State almost came back. They lost by 4. What? They lost by 4?
Yeah.
2.
Something like that. They lost by 2. For God's sakes. And Penn State is really good guards. So, like you said before, Keith, once they meet a team,
exactly. We watched it. We watched it with IU versus Purdue. He just sits back in the paint, and they allow the long two. And luckily for us, that's what Jalen Hood-Schifino specializes in is the long two. And I think, any guards that can hit that long two or even just a 3, I think that's going to really hurt Purdue and their chances to win that game. But, Purdue, Zach Edey, that man is fantastic, right? 7'4", he dominates.
Yeah.
You just got to make sure you hit your outside shots or otherwise you'll be in trouble. And he hits his free throws too, so you really have to hit you really have to hit those shots
foul him.
And get every rebound you can and make sure you're boxing out against that team. But I just hated that that East region. It's just tough. Memphis, Duke. I'm sure Purdue fans are getting flashbacks seeing Oral Roberts on their side as well. Kansas State is another good. I mean, Kansas State, the Big 12 this year
I
was
love
just
Oral Roberts,
they were the
baby.
best conference. There's no really debate, I think. Michigan State's in there. Tom Izzo in March is always scary to come up against.
Yeah, I think I just saw they have a Tom Izzo just set a
Yeah.
record. I think it was like
Yeah.
20 something.
You don't want to see that man in March. It's like,
tournament. Absolutely insane.
yeah, it's. I was scared for a minute because I thought, the 13 seed against that would be in the Midwest with IU would be Iona. We'd get Rick Pitino, but I think we lucked out not seeing Iona in the Midwest. And so, yeah, with that, I'll move over to my Midwest. I have Texas coming out of the Midwest region. They swept Kansas this year, I think, in all their games. And Kansas is a very good basketball team. I think they match up well. I think that really helps. But I think Texas is a very good team. I have them coming out of the Midwest. I think Houston is, we'll see. They haven't played, that top-tier talent all year like Texas has. I think, they might give Texas trouble. I mean, I know they're always a solid team. They've been a solid team these past few years, so we'll see. But I don't have too much for the Midwest in terms of upsets. Maybe Penn State over A&M as well in that first round. I'm hoping the Hoosiers can make it out, obviously, but I'm being realistic. I don't think they'll make it. I think they'll get lucky to make it past Miami or Drake in the second round if we beat Kent State. I don't know if we make it out of the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
We got Auburn, Auburn and Iowa, and Houston, Kentucky, Northern Kentucky. It's not looking good for us. Those teams probably match up well against the Hoosiers. But going to my West, I have Kansas coming out. I don't think it comes as too much of a surprise. I just think they're one of the best teams in college basketball. Their team is gross. They play small ball very well. So teams like Texas are the reason why they lose, but it's the tournament. It's Bill Self. They've returned quite a few players, so I think they might be the team to beat out of the West. So that is my Final Four. I picked Texas to meet them in the Final Four and beat them, and then beat Alabama in the national championship game, and that's what my bracket looks like. Yeah.
It's pretty solid. I can agree on pretty much a lot of it. But I think for me, what I have coming out of the South region, I got Arizona. As someone who watched them play IU, and then I've watched them play a little bit more in terms of against UCLA in the Pac-12 championship. I don't think I've seen a as complete team as I have with Arizona. I also watched IU play about as well as they could possibly play, and still get handled by about 10 points, and that's no slouch to Indiana. They're a good team. Inconsistent, but you can't argue with the talent. There's talent there for sure, with some experience. But I have Arizona coming out of that one. I think Alabama, talking with some buddies up in Chicago, I kind of agree with them. It's like an AAU basketball team, right? They're going to show up and they're going to play well. And then sometimes I feel like there's moments with Alabama where you're kind of head scratching. And I think they're going to get bounced by San Diego State. I looked up and down that San Diego State team. I don't think they're going to make the Final Four or anything. But I do think that team could give them fits. They're really long, a lot of senior guards. They defend the three-point line really well, so that run and gun stuff isn't going to work. So again, in particular, I have Arizona coming out of the South. I'll try to hurry up because I know we're running out of time. Overall in the East, you guys hit it perfectly. Purdue, in my opinion, Matt Painter special, the drop and cover with a 7'4" guy. That's really great until you run into a guard that hits 60% from 2 and 12-foot range. We saw that with Hood Schifino when Trey Galloway's hitting those little floaters, whatever it is. I think you guys attested to it perfectly too in the NBA, right? That doesn't work. Those NBA guys hit those every time. In college, they sometimes hit them, they sometimes don't. And Matt Painter's taking his odds that he'll be able to win, the majority of that time. And he does in the regular season, but that doesn't always happen in the tournament. So I don't think Purdue makes it past the Sweet 16. I have them losing off. So coming out of the East, Keith, I 100% agree. I have Marquette. Watching them play up close against Butler and just pummel them to sleep just showed me how dominant they are. They play good basketball too, and I think Shaka Smart's a great fit for that organization. Small private university, doing the same thing as he did at VCU, control the game. A little bit different than Texas, right? Some guys are just small school coaches, and I think Shaka Smart's one of them, and I think Marquette's a beautiful fit. After that, I have UCLA coming out of the West. I think Kansas, I can't convince myself a back-to-back Final Four appearance. That is so hard. I just can't do it. So I'm going UCLA. I think they're a great team too. They have a lot of talent. They play basketball the right way. Another sleeper team that I think Kansas is going to lose to that UCLA is going to face in the Elite Eight is a UConn. I've seen them play too. UConn has some great guards, and they do have a 7-foot kind of Ophie guy, but he plays pretty well. And I think they can handle their own against everybody except UCLA. I think there's a little bit more talent on the wings, and I think that's where they'll kind of expose them. And then last but not least, I also, out of the Midwest, beloved IU, can't make it out. Is what it is. But I do totally agree, Keith. My opinion, Texas. I'm not a big fan of Houston. There's something to be said for not playing in the Power Five. Not saying they're not good, and I don't want to take away from that. And they have plenty of experience. They've been here before. But there's something about that pressure, right? When you get to the Sweet 16 and you're the one, and that Miami, that Indiana, that whoever it is just kind of breathing down your neck. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Houston. I've seen them put up some stinkers. I've also seen them shoot really poorly. Indiana, Kent State game. Kent State lost to them by 2 or 3 points. Now, granted, Houston shot about as well as my grandmother from the free throw line. So, with that being said, I think Houston's good. Don't get me wrong. But I have Texas coming out in particular. Texas is going to be my own team to come out of the Midwest. With that being said, I have Arizona and I have UCLA playing in the championship with Arizona winning all the marbles. So, Jason, I'll pass it off to you. Hopefully you can get all 4 of them in there real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to get all 4 of them in real quick. I'm not going to go super in depth because, I mainly make my decisions not off of competition as well as quad 1 wins and any bad losses. Coming out of the South region, I have Alabama. Like Keith said, shoot. They have one of the best passers in the game. He really knows how to distribute that ball. Or other stuff. So I have Alabama as coming out of the South region. Cam and Keith, you have Texas coming out of the Midwest. I do not. I have Houston actually coming out of the Midwest. My reason is, yes, I know they don't play in a Power 5 conference. I fairly think, yes, that is a negative effect on them because they don't get the competition of a Power 5 conference. But at the same time, yes, you know what? Before I even say at the same time, as you said before, they've had some poor shooting performances, but they've also had some really fucking good ones. But what I got to say is, I think what the differences in sports between football, basketball, baseball, the different levels of D1 down to D3, specifically with baseball, and you can say this to basketball too, specifically basketball. For basketball, if you can ball, you can fucking ball. If you can ball, you can ball. That's it. I would say the biggest thing is, and this is where it comes to Power 5 as well, your athleticism, your height, the pressure. But at the same time, like I said, if you can ball, you can ball, and Houston can ball. Coming out, so I have 2 1 seeds on the top of my bracket. On the bottom of my bracket, I have Kansas losing in the Sweet 16 to UConn.
Me too.
I do. And I also have UConn moving over into my Final Four. UCLA, they lost their guard. They lost their starting guard. I have them playing TCU in the Sweet 16, and I have them losing. So I have UConn, TCU. TCU's been balling all year. But I think UConn is just a little bit better. I don't, Big 12, an insanely tough conference. At the same time, I know Big East isn't as good this year as it was before from top to bottom, but at the top of the pack, you have UConn, Xavier, Marquette, you have Creighton too. You have some very, very, very tough competition. I think UConn can go ahead and handle them. My last one, coming out of the East, I'll just say I have Edie and Purdue losing in the Sweet 16. I do not have Marquette going like Keith does. And Cam,
Marquette.
who do you have in the East? I do not have Marquette. Who do I have? I have a team that they were balling throughout most of the year. They kind of teetered off. They did end up being Alabama later in the season, so maybe that could help them. Tennessee. I know a lot of people did have futures bets on them. I think they can keep it up. They're just an overall very good team. It's March. Anything can happen. And going back to the West too, specifically because I have UConn going. I think that might be the biggest one out of all of them because Kansas is insane. One, they're playing in neutral sites. Kansas is amazing at home, but they can be beaten on the road. Two, UConn is ranked number 4 in the KenPom rankings based off of adjusted efficiency as well as adjusted offense per 100 possessions and just defense per 100 possessions. UConn is better. I'm getting analytics now, but at the same time, you have Kansas all the way down at 9. And I get it, they've had tougher competition from top to bottom in the Big 12. But I just think UConn, there's something about UConn. I just like them going to the Final Four. Honestly, I just looked at my bracket and I realized I did not
Let's pick one right now. Who do you have?
I didn't pick a winner.
Yeah.
So,
who do I have?
So let's go your 2 championship contenders first.
I'm going to go.
Who do you have coming out of the South? Okay.
I think UConn's going to beat Houston. I can get
behind that.
You can't go wrong with the Big East team. And that's why in the South region, I do have Creighton going to the Elite 8. I do have Creighton being Arizona. We can talk about that at a different time. I know Creighton's a very deep team. They're an experienced team. They have a lot of seniors. That's why I haven't going that far. I have them losing to Bama. But I think it's going to be UConn. I think it's going to be an SEC rematch. Oh, wow. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Well,
I'm going to say we're going to have a battle of a 1 and 4 seed. I'm going to say Alabama because Tennessee just beat Alabama the last time they played. So I'm going to go Bama, UConn, and I'm going to say Bama just wins it all. I don't think it's going to happen, though, to be honest, even though I'm saying it, because I don't
agree.
think the 1 seed's going to win this year.
100% agree.
Yeah.
I think there's just,
Can't wait.
it's madness, baby. It's March, but that's the fun part, right? So
Anything can happen. Where do you guys have IU going before we hop off?
My highest hopes for them, but staying realistic, is losing in the Sweet 16. My realistic intentions is they'll be inconsistent and lose to Miami.
Houston.
We'll see. I hope that doesn't happen, obviously.
that's what I have. I have them losing to Miami, but
Who knows with them?
In a perfect world, yeah, who knows? I mean, if they string, heck, they could beat Houston. We've seen they can beat anybody,
Lose to them.
but we've also
Not
seen
anybody,
they could.
but lose
I
to
mean,
any
they could
team in
lose
this
to
tournament
anybody.
for sure.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So, but yeah, that's where I have them. What about you, Tess?
Yeah, I have them losing to Houston in the Sweet 16. I do think they can make it past Miami. Neutral site. I don't like IU away from Bloomington, but at the same time, I'm going to roll with our boys. We have unanimous All-American. We have Big Ten Freshman of the Year. I feel like definitely the Big Ten. The Big Ten's a different beast than the ACC when it comes to basketball. At least nowadays it is. Nowadays it's a lot more tougher. It's a lot tougher. Yeah, that's all.
100% agree. Well, I think we got some good material for our first one. Talked about a lot, and I know my phone's about to explode, so I'm definitely going to need to wrap this up. But Tess, you want to do the exit? You can play, yeah.
All right, yeah, sounds I will. We're going to be coming out with new episodes once a week. We'll be recording them every Wednesday night. We're trying to record them every Wednesday night. We should have them out every Thursday or Friday night. And hope you keep tuning in. Hope you enjoy the content we're putting out. If you have any recommendations, put them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell and turn on notifications. All right. Have a good one. Peace.